The city was soaked, rain hammering down on the asphalt as if trying to wash away its secrets. On a street corner, a man stood, his face a mask of desperation, tears mixing with the downpour. He cried out, a raw, ragged sound that cut through the noise of the storm. "Help me please, my house, it's gone, it burned down." People, drawn by his anguish, hurried towards him. Umbrellas bobbed like concerned heads. They saw his soaked clothes, his trembling body, and their hearts went out to him. Wallets opened. A woman pressed a handful of cash into his palm. A shop owner ran out with a warm meal. A kind family offered him their spare room for the night. He accepted it all with a display of profound gratitude, his sobs shaking his shoulders. But as he lay in a warm, dry bed that night, there was no gratitude in his heart, only a cold, calculating satisfaction. His house was perfectly fine, standing untouched just a few miles away. The money was a bonus, the food a treat, the sympathy a game. He had discovered a new kind of power, the power of pity. Days turned into weeks, and his act became more refined. He was a chameleon of misfortune. He'd sit in a busy cafe, his phone displaying a picture of a frail, elderly woman. "My mother," he'd whisper to anyone who made eye contact, his voice thick with fake emotion. "She's so sick. The hospital bills are overwhelming." He had documents, of course. Forged hospital bills, fake letters from doctors. They were his props in this elaborate play, and people believed him. They wanted to believe him. They wanted to be the hero in someone else's tragedy. Donations poured into his bank account. Each notification was a little ping of victory. He would check his balance, a smirk playing on his lips, and laugh at the gullibility of the world. He was a puppeteer, and everyone's compassion was just a string for him to pull. He felt invincible, clever, a master of deception living a life funded by lies. Then came a night when the script was flipped, when reality decided to write its own horrifying ending. He was asleep in his own bed, in his own house. The one he'd claimed was a pile of ash. A smell, acrid and sharp, pulled him from his dreams. He opened his eyes to an orange glow flickering under his bedroom door. Panic, real and suffocating, seized him. He threw the door open and was blasted by a wave of heat. The hallway was a tunnel of fire. Flames licked the walls, devouring photos, furniture, everything. Thick, black smoke choked the air, making his eyes water and his lungs burn. He stumbled through the inferno, his skin searing, his mind screaming. He finally burst out the front door, collapsing onto the wet lawn. The cool night air a shocking contrast to the furnace behind him. His house was a monstrous bonfire, lighting up the neighborhood. He got to his feet, his voice shredded with terror. "Help! Somebody help me! My house is on fire, please!" He ran towards his neighbors' homes, banging on doors, his cries echoing in the night. Lights flickered on. Faces appeared in windows. People came out onto their porches, wrapped in robes, watching. But no one ran to help. No one called the fire department. They just stood there, silhouetted against the roaring blaze. He could hear them whispering, their words carried on the smoky air. "It's him again. Another one of his stories. He's just looking for more money. Don't fall for it." Each word was a dagger. He screamed, "No, it's real this time. I swear, it's real." But his voice was lost, swallowed by the crackling and roaring of the flames. They had heard his cries for help before, and now they were deaf to them. He watched, helpless, as the fire consumed everything he owned. The roof collapsed in a shower of sparks, sending a plume of smoke and ash into the sky. He had cried wolf so many times that now, faced with the real beast, he was completely alone. The fire trucks arrived eventually, but it was far too late. They could only douse the smoldering skeleton of what was once his home. He ended up in the hospital, his body covered in burns, his throat raw from smoke and screaming. A nurse was quietly changing his bandages. The dam of his composure finally broke, and he began to weep, his body shaking with real gut-trenching sobs. "Why?" he choked out, his voice a hoarse whisper. "Why didn't they help me? I told them it was real this time." The nurse stopped her work and looked at him, not with pity, but with a calm, steady gaze. Her voice was quiet, but it carried the weight of a profound truth. "You spent months training them not to believe you," she said softly. "You taught them that your cries for help were a lie. When the real crisis came, they just did what you taught them to do." He stared at the ceiling, the nurse's words echoing in his mind, more painful than any burn. He had played a game with the trust of others, thinking he was the winner. But in the end, the only person he truly deceived was himself. He had burned every bridge, and when he was surrounded by real fire, there was no way to cross back to safety. Some lessons are written in smoke and ash, and they don't give you a second chance to learn them. Trust, once burned to the ground, is the hardest thing to rebuild. Thanks for watching. Remember to be mindful of the trust you build with others. It's more valuable than you can imagine. If you found this story thought-provoking, please like, subscribe, and share it. See you next time.